Welcome and thank you for tuning in to the home of the most competitive game coverage, most intense unit analysis, and the highest of high-level plays ever seen by two casuals who barely know where the rule booklet is. You're listening to This is for Worlds. Let us join Aaron and Fi and see what competitive topic is on the docket today. Hi and welcome back. I'm Fi.
I'm Aaron.
And this is for Worlds. Podcast where, Aaron and I barely know what's going on. We like to read through the rule book as we play most of our games, and still have just a lot of fun. Isn't that right?
I'm not looking to show up to the table prepared.
I mean,
I just want to throw dice.
If I can stumble into the table, gasping for breath in between work schedules and other things, then hey, we're just lucky I showed up.
Yeah.
I think that's really what it comes down to.
So, what have you been working on then?
Hobbying for advantage is probably something I haven't done at all lately. At least not miniatures or anything.
Or models at all?
Yeah, because we played... We'll get into our Victory at Sea game a little bit later, but even then, when we planned to play, I had made a point to be like, oh, this will be perfect motivation to get new player wants to come out, see how the game is played. This will be perfect motivation to finish the 3 Italians I have left to paint. That's it. Just 3. My paint job is super simple. They still need to be base coated though. Still haven't done it. It's been a wild. Shit, it's been a wild 2024 right now. Period. What about you?
Fair enough. I got a little bit of stuff built. I built there were 3 new boxes for Marvel Crisis that came out, which I am very excited for. I just haven't really had much motivation to play, so then that kind of dampens the motivation to get it built and painted. But it's Bishop, Nightcrawler, Iceman, Kitty Pryde, Professor X in his little hover chair, and some dude named Shadow King who I had never heard of. Because most of my X-Men knowledge comes just from the 97 cartoon, like, I think a decent number of folks.
Fair.
Models are great, got them all built, painted Nightcrawler. I started working on the rest of them today. That's about the extent of my hobbying that is not work-related. But I do have some motivation, which I guess we can cover in the future competitive markets, of why I'm suddenly very excited to get them going. So I'll save that for later.
Is it not modeling for advantage?
Well, I'm gonna build them, but my motivation to build them is for a campaign league thing that Adam's gonna do for MCP at the store. So I figured I'd cover that during.
Oh, I thought you were insinuating different miniatures.
No.
Gotcha. Okay, I'm on board.
They did just announce more new stuff. It's like repacks it's like affiliation packs. Don't buy a couple of these models separately. They go from like instead of $20 a pop for, $20 for, gosh darn it, my brain, $40 for 2 models. You get 4 models for $60. It's the core of like Avengers or Spidey Foes or something. They didn't announce that, but it's just like repack stuff. So beyond that, I'm not really super excited about any other model stuff that's coming out. So
that's fair. In terms of like excitement there, I still have a lot of World of Tanks that I want to finish. I finally got in all the paint pens for the idea that I want to try for the French. For my Team Yankee stuff. But outside of that, it's just literally not having the time right now, which is kind of wild because I mean we can kind of go into this as it does pertain to people doing the hobby of assembling, painting, putting on the table, and all of that. Is like right now, for me, I'm actually doing probably better scheduled, like actively scheduled than I've ever been, as opposed to um, just being like, I'm getting home from work today. What can I do? Do I want to sit down and play video games? Do I want to build this out? Do I have time for this? Did I promise my wife we would do XYZ thing? Instead of like coming home not knowing, like I'm finding right now that my schedule is very, like I have set the times for those things, and hobbying in terms of the painting and stuff is not in the cards unless, as I've mentioned previously, it's a full Saturday or Sunday thing. But we've had Star Wars Unlimited pre-release, we've had Star Wars Legion tournament. Then you have chores and responsibilities that you can't normally get done during the week because you just don't have the time. Stuff like that.
Because you gotta be an adult. It's the worst.
Yeah, so like I got home today and one of my coworkers was like, "Hey, are you gonna get on Helldivers?" And I was like, "Nope, but you can catch me on Helldivers on Wednesday." And he was like, "That's a little weird." And I was like, "No, I got to record tonight. I have World War Night at the store tomorrow, so like the only time that I can get to play is here." And I basically get 2 or 3 nights because we try to record every other week for Helldivers, and then that is what I try to fit in those moments where I'm like, oh, I've got an hour, I can go kill some bugs or bots, stuff like that. And it's just the priority to me, and I also will sit back and reflect and think that I'm pretty lucky for that, because I can just show up to the store with a lot of my stuff that I already have painted or done and play. So like Legion, like World of War, or not World of Warships, Victory at Sea, stuff along those lines. Like, I'm not hurting, but at the same time, if we decide we want to play Team Yankee again, I'm not going to feel upset or shamed, despite, what some people in some Facebook groups have tried to insinuate regarding our Blood Red Skies pictures.
That was a little weird.
Yeah. Where I'm like, I don't care, man. Like, we're not at a national event. We're just at our store. We're just having fun. We're showing off the game to people who ask, and I'll get there. Like that weekend, that week that I have coming up, where we're taking the week off to just relax and catch up because it's going to be a really busy time for Hillary at work. It's like I can do a lot of things, and luckily the model that's currently on the printer, I don't have to fucking deal with. That's not my toy. I'm just giving that to somebody else. So while that's, finishing up the main body, which is going to take like, I think one of the prints is 30 something hours. So like,
Jeez.
yeah, while that shit's going on, like I can catch up on a lot of my miniatures stuff. Because I cleaned up a lot of the stuff, as we talked about last time, that, I never really had the intention of playing immediately. Like, I need the novelty of Swedes and French and West Germans and all that to wear off before I swing around to being like, yeah, let's see what Cuba's got. I cleaned that up, which gave me a lot of motivation to, like, work on other things. And when that happened, like I finished assembly on a lot of models and sub-assemblies. It's just right now everything is waiting for paint, and I'm okay with that right now. I'm not stressed. It'll happen. I am on track with where I kind of expected this year's goals to be so far. There's no complaints. So,
Despite what other people think about how you should enjoy your hobby.
yeah. And I mean, that's something that you and I are a very big proponent of. Uh, if you are out there and you spent, the money, your hard-earned money in this fucking economy to, delve into whatever plastic or resin or pewter miniatures and models, then unless you are actively looking for um, constructive feedback, uh, or you're trying to be like, hey, I want advice, it's like, okay, who gives a shit how you paint or how you do or what style you chose? I'm just happy you're here in the community and I get to play more games. That's all I care about. So,
Yeah.
yep. Long winded excuse for not really touching the pile of potential lately, but I have also not added to the pile of potential, so it's a win. We'll take it.
There you go.
Oh,
Yeah, I know some people that have zero self-control.
it's not. Trust me, it's not self control because I will be buying the French starter here eventually, and I'll be doing it from Warlord Games just so I can get the Arizona model since I already have a lot of points allocated for purchases there. Plus, Rabbit would probably like another random sprue of infantry, so.
Everybody else happy too, yeah.
Yeah, so I know I'm doing that soon, but that's really the only thing. Like, I'll pick up for Legion Fifth Brother, Seventh Sister.
No, that's right. They are coming out, aren't they?
Yeah, I'll pick up the Inquisitor box, but I haven't touched my Empire since I initially got into this game. So I highly doubt I'm going to be stressing about them. Usually I'll just have them assembled so that whoever needs to borrow them can borrow them. So yeah, it's not really a self-control thing. It's all I have everything that's currently out. So unless like Team Yankee announces like, hey, South Korea and Japan, then I'll be like, fuck. No.
Yeah, I feel like if they do that, that'll be a huge release though, because it'll probably be
Yeah,
the entire like Asia Pacific theater
probably
kind of stuff.
get Chinese and North Korean and you know.
Yeah, another way for folks to buy the same kit over again and put different decals on it.
Yep. Yep. That is. I mean, it's fair. Like, I'm not. That's what countries exporting arms will do. Um, I have nothing against them releasing rules for it, but it's just annoying that until you're a part of the community, you don't realize that is how that works. So you will make it a point to be like, I really got to buy this version of the M113. And everybody who like has been around just kind of laughs at you and goes, "No, you don't. Take this one." Ooh, but I need the West German ones, not the NATO or the U.S. ones. And you're like, "No, you don't. Take this. You're good." I promise.
The screws are the same.
Yep. However you want to assemble it is how you want to assemble it. When that uh when that realization hit me, that was it for me trying to decide on, because I came up with a really large list of like, all right, which country in Team Yankee lines up with which country in Ace Combat, and how am I going to paint these armies? And then when I just realized that all the sprues were the same, I was just like, fuck it. They're all just going to be like Nordinavic units, and then I'll just denote them by like armored division or whatever, and then I'll just have the cards for whatever country they are standing in for at any given time. And I think that's going to cut down a lot on my army. So, I would really like to get back to it. It's just.
I realize we probably haven't played since last year, Team Yankee.
I
I
mean,
don't think we played it all year. Or 24.
Yeah, so far in 2024. But that's because we've not been able to play as much. And everybody seems to be on a real big Victory at Sea, Blood Red Skies kick, which I'm not upset about. It's also, I think the other reason that is because it's easier to do like a 3-way game for.
Sure.
Because right now we don't really have a fourth, so it's easy to throw battleships out on a map in like roughly 3 equilateral spaces. And then, Blood Red Skies, with their restrictions on deployment, you can pretty much just do a massive furball regardless. So, Team Yankee, especially if I'm going to be that asshole that shows up with 37 VBLs and the rest of the army, like, there's not really room for 3 people.
You'll be living the parking lot that everybody says the game is.
Yeah, I want to reenact 405 on a Friday going home at 5 o'clock. That's what I want to reenact in Team Yankee. Complete with machine guns and tow missiles and all the fun toys. Overpriced SUVs. Yeah. Well, that was a significant detour away from, modeling for advantage. We want to talk about some world qualifying battle reports.
Yeah. So, Blood Red Skies, I think was our first one.
Oh, sweet, because I was literally about to apologize for the first one. We can do that later.
Oh. Okay,
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think.
I just don't remember what order we played them in.
Well, we played Victory at Sea first, and then Blood Red Skies was last week.
Oh, okay.
But that's fine. We can do Blood Red Skies.
Okay. Well, I was just gonna ask. So was Victory at Sea the one where you took the one thing and all the other things?
Yes.
Okay, I couldn't remember if we covered that one.
That's why I was going to apologize.
All right. Well, we'll do Blood Red Skies first.
Yeah. I mean, we're already here. We'll leave that hanging to make sure the audience comes back.
Right. Yeah, because we want to we need to get the listen time up.
Yeah. We played Victory at Seas, and it was awful. And I, of course, am the problem. And I think that should just be my name is the problem. I don't want to cause. Like, I'm just going to put this out there. I don't want to cause my opponent pain. I just want to be silly. And the problem with that is being silly in these games typically causes my opponent pain. That's not my goal. That's just what happens. Does that make sense?
Sounds like a whole lot of excuses for you to be a bully.
I mean, I'm not making excuses. Like, I'm telling you what I want to do. I'm being flat out here, just being like, yep, I want to take all the toys. And then people are like, well, how many toys is all the toys? And I'm like, well, I think what you heard is I want to take a lot of toys. I said I want to bring all the toys, as many toys as I can. And that means this. And then people are like, you're an idiot. And I'm like, you are correct. But here we are. But at least Blood Red Sky wasn't that way.
No. I just, again, am... after that one, I'm like, why would I not take one kind of, airplane squadron? Like, why take 2?
Okay.
Because it's just gonna make it that much easier for me to die.
No. I'm gonna explain the setup, and then I want you to explain why that's your takeaway, because to me that was not the takeaway you should have gotten from this game. Sound good?
There.
Okay. So I have still not bought new aircraft or anything. So I was flying my standard 5 Franks, uh, four skill pilots, 1 2 skill pilot, and usually deploy them in a way so that the 2 pairs of 4s are coming in, and the 2 will go perpendicular one way or the other, but usually will start in the perpendicular to both the pairs, but it'll be going from the middle of them. That way, it's kind of the bait plane that it's out in the front. It's there. It's a low skill. Why would you not shoot it? But if you angle and focus on it, that means the 4s can get on you pretty quick. And even if you're a 5, 4 dice plus, their modifier, generally 2, is not something to ignore. So I kind of set them out in a furball for the most part. You brought, I remember 4 Hellcats, 2 Corsairs, but I don't remember their skills.
It was the Corsairs were 5s. The Wildcats were all 2s, except they were led by 1 4.
Okay. So the way that you deployed them was you set the Wildcats across in the direction that my 2 was going to end up flying in on the other side of a cloud, and your Corsairs were coming from behind where that 2 currently was, but was going to put them right in front of my squad. And that's what happened. So the 2 comes out, it's doing its thing where it's being bait. You keep outmaneuvering it, so it's disadvantaged pretty early. But your Corsairs, through like 3 turns, because I was just half speeding up the board until I was literally just a group together pointing 2 different directions, and you crossed in front within 6 inches so that like 3 of my fighters got to shoot before they even did the rest of their stuff. And so your Corsairs, while they lived, the problem was I was just rolling a hit. I didn't care that you were rolling 11 defense dice because I had you in the side arc, so your speed was added.
Yeah, it was like
no, it was like 14.
9 and 3. Yeah, I think it's just I had 12 out, so I was just like, I'll just roll 12, and if I need to roll the 2 more to make sure, I'll roll the 2 more.
Yeah, so like I didn't even care because I didn't necessarily need to disadvantage or throw any down. It was like actually blow them up. I just needed to do the 3 boom chits to make that squad run away. So my theory for that was just throw dice, throw dice, throw dice. But your Corsairs had gotten there so fast that the Hellcats going around the cloud just couldn't do anything. They came out on the other side of the cloud and were just like, where'd the Corsairs go? And at that point, you're now weaker than my remaining Air Force. So that's kind of why I want to know why your takeaway was not 2 squads. Because 2 squads gives you an additional boom chit to win the overall game.
Oh, fair. Yeah, I guess I didn't think of it that way. As a matter of like context, to make excuse for my poor play, I was basically miserably sick when we were doing this.
True.
I had, if I was at home, like I had joked, I would have had Kleenex shoved up my nose. So I was just,
allergy season, baby.
Yeah, best stuff ever. I don't know. I don't really have a reason why that was my takeaway. Or maybe it was because the other thing too is that maybe I was like trying to min-max it too much, running, super ace Corsairs with bait of the cheapest aircraft that I could, not necessarily the cheapest, but among the cheapest aircraft I could take with poor piloting.
I mean,
So maybe
why not?
maybe more. Yeah,
That's literally what I've been doing, and the Hellcats do have robust, right?
they do.
Yeah. So I don't think the strategy in terms of the list building was the problem. I think the fact that you over you your escorts essentially overran the bait, or the attack dogs overran the bait. Like, I never even got a chance to shoot at the bait because your Corsairs were literally 6 inches from me on a shooting turn at the beginning of the turn, and I was like, well, these are the deadliest things on the board. Why would I not nuke these? I don't care if I actually disadvantage or kill them. I just need boom chits. Roll the dice.
Yeah.
Roll the dice. Roll the dice. I think if they had started in the back or started a little bit further out, and let the Hellcats crash, because you outnumbered me, it was 6-5, so it wouldn't have been extremely difficult. Plus, having robust and making me roll one less dice on the shoot means they have the potential of sticking around a lot longer. And your Corsairs just rolling up and outmaneuvering anything that they wanted because I don't have an ace just was like, okay, I gotta play around that up until where they just started at range 6, and I was like, or 6 inches, and I was like, well, here's my opportunity to kill him. Why not? I would love to see you play that list again. And I obviously will keep my list because it's the same list I've been playing for Blood Red Skies for, like, I don't know, 3-4 sessions now, I think. It's just the most efficient for the models that I have. And does decently. But I would love to see it if you let the Hellcats crash before the Corsairs do. Make me deal with that armor and blocking unit instead of killing your main guns.
All right, yeah.
Yeah.
If that's what we end up doing, I'll run the same thing. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
I don't know what our plan is for tomorrow right now, but
Pretty sure it's Victory at Sea.
all right, that works for me. I quite like that game.
That's true. It is a good game.
Speaking of,
Hell yeah!
yeah, look at that segue.
Yeah, so I'm gonna take this opportunity to apologize. I never even looked at the armor until you asked me what the armor was. But I was
7+ though, right?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I was definitely the problem. To be fair though, that was not what I was gonna take until you asked to up the point value. Because we were originally going to start out at 1,000 points. And I was like, I don't really want to do that. I want to take at least a couple submarines. And they're like 50 points. That would only leave me with like 2 things. Maybe I'll just downsize to another battleship and we'll give this a shot. And then Aaron's like, hey, can we do 1,200? And I was like, if we do 1,200, I'm going to be a problem. Oh, yeah, that's okay. We can deal with that. So what do I drop on the table? 8? Was it 8? Catalinas?
Yeah, 8, and something else.
Yeah. It was 8 Catalinas because damage dice on torpedoes are just so delicious. And a Montana. So I dropped a Montana and 8 Catalinas on the table. And was just like, I'm here.
16-inch guns, right?
Yeah. I was like, I'm here to be
Yeah,
the problem.
yeah. So that's like on top of ridiculous torpedoes on incredibly fast delivery systems. You had
Yeah.
you had a battleship throwing probably what, like 3 dice a turret
Yep.
plus 2 damage and rolling heavy.
I think it's plus
Gross.
3.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah. Because the eye, essentially, if as long as I rolled not a 1, it was a hit.
Yeah, it was definitely all the damage, and then you had the 33% chance every time to get a crit.
Yeah. It was. It was fantastic. And I understand it now. I think that was more than enough incentive to like dust off the Americans, but tell us what you played if you remember.
Like I tried, like as so that is one thing I also like about, we talked about how just playing Blood Red Skies or Victory at Sea is just, it's an easier mental experience. I'm sure we've mentioned that before, but if I really wanted to, if I'm playing 1,000 points, I can just put the Yamato down and I have one thing to manage, and it's just roll big explosive dice, do big dumb things, and just have a good time. And I was like, no, I'm gonna try taking a little more of a balanced list and have varied threats on the table. And if I remember correctly, I had some amount of destroyers. I think it was like 4 or 5 destroyers.
Yes.
2 light cruisers, which are effectively just another torpedo delivery system.
Yeah, I know you
And
say balanced, but you were an entire torpedo delivery service.
I did take the Nagato, which does not have torpedoes.
Okay, fair.
So I had a wee little bit of guns. And it did fucking diddly. It didn't do a thing
Yeah.
of consequence. Like, sure, I threw shots. I made some
Uh,
crit rolls.
Actually, not true. It did wipe most of the Catalinas.
Okay, yeah, fair. Which, but like, yeah, the thing with the heaping giant pile of hit points and 7+ armor.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you had torpedo belt, what, 2?
2 or 3, yeah. Oh, no.
2 or 3.
4?
Jesus. Really?
I don't have this book.
Goddamn.
I don't have this book within range.
I was gonna say, I don't either. It's at work.
I mean, even if it's 2, that's still just like bleh. But you were also not rolling hot on the torpedo. You were hitting. You were not rolling hot though.
Like we talked about in the past how ridiculous those dice were and how I don't get to use them anymore. The karma swung back the other way.
Yep. Came back real hard.
Yeah, and it was one of the, like we talked about Blood Red Skies. Yeah, maybe I wasn't making the best decision to play the list effectively. I mean, I had one fucking target. What else was I gonna do except mob you with everything I had? Right?
Well, and the realization of like when you go, actually, what's the armor on that? And I was like, I don't know. Oh, 7+, and then you just kind of like dropped in the face of like, oh, none of my guns can do anything to that.
Yeah, literally the only thing that could hurt you without torpedoes was the Nagato.
Yep.
So I did take a few fighters because I
Yep.
took the core of the ships I wanted, and generally if I have like 50 points left over, I'll just be like, I don't know, I'll take what's the cheapest fighter. I'll just take a bunch of those just to be a nuisance.
Yep.
If I think you're gonna take aircraft, or what's the cheapest torpedo bomber, just something. And so all my other ships, sure, they move 7 inches, but they have to rush across the board while getting unloaded on every single turn. And your guns are so good that splitting fire is a legitimate tactic that you're not gonna it's not a huge detriment, right?
Yeah.
If you throw one of the turrets at something else, like you'll do some meaningful damage, meaningful critical rolls and stuff. So
Well, yeah, and right off the bat, I think I did significant damage to the Nagato with a turret shot, and then I think I did mediocre damage on whatever the second target was, but it was the lone Catalina, because like I said, your fighters tied up like three of them, or however many you had was like, oh no, they made it to the ship first. That's right. I made it to the ship first. Your AA killed a bunch of them. Your fighters tied up the remaining, but one of them was able to escape, and it was the one that like one shot whatever the second ship next to the Nagato was.
It was probably Megami because it took a couple of those.
Yeah,
Because that's what it feels like on the list was like 4 destroyers, 2 light cruisers, 2 Megamis, and then Nagato plus aircraft.
Yeah, because it was like, well, I don't know how long the Nagato is gonna live for, so I'm just gonna run away and I'm gonna try and torpedo this ship over here. And so he was like, I'm gonna run, and then you failed the local, and then he was just like, bombs away, and then it was like 2 or 3 crits. And we like started doing the math, and like even before we got to apply the crits and we were doing the damage, you were like, it's dead. And I was like, what do you mean it's dead? I got 3 crits to roll. What are you talking about?
Yeah, well, yeah, you got the Montana in the back, lobbing shells and being a bully. So
Yeah, and then I remember one of the new players was just kind of observing, being like, why did you turn into the destroyers? And I was like, because I wanted to split them so each side of my massive dual purpose cannons that dice pool can hit as many as possible without, worrying about it too much. And he's like, isn't he going to be able to like torpedo you? And I was like, yeah, he's going to be able to torpedo me anyways. I was never avoiding that. This is
you move like what, 5?
6, because it's just
6.
It's just under the speed rule, which we found out.
Apparently we had been playing wrong this entire time.
Yeah, because we can read. We can definitely read. So easy to read. But yeah, so it was like just cruising along. I was like, I'm not worried about that. I have 170 some odd points of health. I'm just swinging. I'm throwing haymakers in every direction I can. And it paid off. And now I understand I am drunk with power. I want more guns with heavy in my life.
Right, I'm convinced that critical is like, they're not critical, but the critical system in that game is a big portion of why I personally find it so fun.
It's just fun. Like, I may get a little bit salty, but like now that I can retell the story of like, yeah, this motherfucker one shot 3 different ships. The first one, not that big a deal. That one was already on like 5 health just because he rolled, a hit, a 6, a 0, or a 10, however you want to look at it, and a 6 again. I was like, that's insane on that 5. But then to turn around and do it to 2 ships who hadn't even shot yet? God damn! It's hilarious to talk about now. And usually I am a good sport about it in the moment. It's just fun. I think that's like part of the most fun in that system. Which is interesting because I'm thinking about how World of Tanks does theirs. I don't like it as much. Yeah,
right, because it's just the deck.
Yeah, and there's no escalation. Yeah. Like, the escalation is ruined by the damage. Because if you have a tank that has, like... I mean, I don't remember what the mouse's health pool is. But let's say you got a mouse that has... I don't know. We'll say it's got 10. if you have more than 3 crits on you, there's a good chance you're already dead because the damage can be three, two, one that also happens on every end phase kind of stuff. Where it like actively kills you, Victory at Sea is very much just, nah, bitch, I didn't hear no bell. Let's
Right?
go.
It's a slugging match. That's what I really enjoy about it. It conveys the idea of these huge hulking skyscrapers effectively, right? Massive ships hurling ridiculously sized explosives at each other, and how like yeah, it embodies what they're doing, like in the movies you might watch, or historically what happened. It embodies that really well. So
And
it's
if
a good time.
and I would say like if it were not for just some of the rules, it would probably be my favorite rule set, and maybe that's a contentious conjecture for a future episode. But like, not necessarily favorite rule system, but favorite like rule or favorite aspect of a system. So like the crits,
Favorite mechanic?
yeah, mechanic. There we go. That may be a good one to ponder on for next time. Cause like I love the crit system, and I get the sense, I could be totally wrong. It's been probably about a month since I've read through Gamble Wolves again, which I read that book usually like once a month because I really, really, really want to play it. And I think I talked about last week or last time, my favorite 3D artist did a STL for an actual Armored Core with modular bits. Ugh, it's just so cool. And I think they do something similar to where like the arm is dead, and you don't have that gun anymore, or maybe your leg is done, so you're out of. But it's more about like taking the wound of, you know, it's not a boxing match. It's more like a Starship Troopers bug kind of fight where like the injury happens, you're lucky if you live past that kind of thing. Like, yeah, they tear your arm, you blow off their leg. Neither of you are probably walking away from that fight. This is just like, nah, you hit me, I'm hitting you back, and you just keep going until you're literally out of health points. Sometimes it's kind of like you get all the really nasty crits and you're just like, guess I'm spinning around in circles with no turrets. But here we
Yeah,
are.
which it's funny you mentioned that. I mean, we covered it last time, but it bears, I guess, repeating to a degree. Uh, that for the most part, what usually happens is you hit your 8 turn limit, calculate points, or you get the awesome vital crit, right? It's a D10 roll, get a 10, roll on the vital table. If you roll a 6, catastrophic explosion. No further dice are rolled, doesn't matter what it was at. You remove the thing from the table. But when I played John the last time, because he was actually getting successful repair rolls and my criticals were so ridiculous, it is the only time I've ever seen just a dead in the water, burning wreck with literally no weapons other than maybe like its light gun systems.
Yeah.
But because of all the halves, like you're at half when you're crippled, and then because he kept repairing it, so I kept reapplying the weapon criticals. He had no turrets on his Montana, so it was just. I think I still even fucking lost that one. I could like yeah, I damn near got tabled that time. Uh, but I got that thing down so close to dying, combat ineffective, but I didn't even get it to half health, so I didn't even get half VPs on it. Or
That
maybe I did. I think I got half VPs because
that's
yeah, I was like, okay, I got yeah.
keep going. I was just gonna say,
I was say I had like one destroyer shot was my only chance to like get some sort of moral victory there. And I was like, all right, well, at least I killed the Montana. Like I killed the big thing that you took. I got all those points. So then instead of being, because we were playing, were we playing 2K? I don't remember how many points we were playing. I think we were playing 2K, but at that point, he had killed 1,700 points worth of stuff, and all I had earned was like a destroyer died, and then I had crippled the Montana. I was like, if I can at least get like the other 400 points, this is like 900 points, something like that. Like I'll feel good about myself at least. But yeah, got that. Yeah,
Yeah,
rough time.
in a situation like that, I think we need to homebrew like a ramming rule, because that's one of those moments where I'm like, if I can't fight you, I'm taking you to hell with me.
Right?
All speed ahead. Sure. Yeah.
Because I mean, generally that's how I like to play. Like, oh, I'm gonna lose. You're gonna table me? Sweet. What's your favorite model on the table? I'm gonna kill the shit out of that one first.
Yeah.
Because I'm gonna take away the toys you like.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shall we move on to Legion?
Yeah. We had a tournament this past week. Aaron and I, he is the organizer on the TO. Surprisingly, we had 7 people and a long lost community member show up to watch and kind of just observe for a minute, when nobody had signed up for like up until the week prior, I want to say.
I think we were at 0 for like up until 2-ish weeks before. Then we got 2.
Yep, and we were like
the
hey.
weekend before, and I was like, okay, sweet. Hey, maybe you and I can just play, and we have 4 people.
Yeah.
I was even thinking if there was only gonna be 2 other people and us. Hey guys, we got Pamplu's whatever the fuck his name is, Wild Ride kit. We got the Dianoga kit plus all the minis you printed for it that I painted. If you want, nice. We can just do a 2-round event, and we can play each narrative mission, change up your opponent. Just so you guys came all the way out here, get some games and do something different. And then out of nowhere, just people started signing up, which that's fine.
Yeah, no complaint. It was just we weren't sure we were even going to have an event, because normally it's the first Saturday of every month, but between Star Wars Unlimited pre-release and Emerald City Comic-Con, usually Emerald City Comic-Con alone kills the turnout for our event.
Yeah, I was going to say, last year we canceled it.
Yep, last year we just flat out canceled it because no one was even interested, and I get it. Like, it's a huge event, and the week after you may just want to recover, especially if you don't have time off between the con and going back to work. So I think we were kind of going along that boat, but then yeah. I ended up playing the first buy, and because that's something else that we do is when we do have an odd number, since you're the organizer and I'm the judge, we don't actively step in and fill in that role for fear of going 3-0 and winning top prize. Even if we were to pass down the prize to second, third, and fourth instead of first, second, and third, it's still kind of a but you're the tournament person, so I don't really like that. So what we'll do is, instead, most people are there to play 3 games. I've actually had someone say, nah, I'd rather just go get something to eat once. But we will step in with our list to play the buy, just so that everybody gets 3 games. Even if you lose, you're still walking away with a win, stuff like that. Except I got bamboozled.
So just to preface what you're bamboozling, we had 6 people sign up. The 7th, the other 6, I recognized everybody, and then the 7th was a person just as Jasper Smith. And I was like, that's weird. I think I've seen that name sign up in the past, but they never ended up coming out. They had dropped. And then a kid who I would be surprised if he was out of middle school. I assume he's probably in 7th or 8th grade or something. Arrived that morning with his parents, and I proceeded, as people signed in and got their entry fee paid. I was like, all right, there's a kid here. You guys have to be nice. Don't be bullies. Don't be inebriated in front of the
No.
children.
No.
And he
This is not what I'm talking
tabled
about.
two of you.
Yeah. That's a weird way to ruin the story, Aaron. Because that doesn't even explain the bamboozling.
Oh, I thought you getting tabled was the bamboozle.
No, the bamboozling was... So, as we have talked about in the past, one of my big things about, cultivating a community is kind of gauging their experience level, where they're at, kind of stuff. And I spoke with Adam, one of our listeners, about this after, and I don't necessarily think he may have been able to tell by other reasons, but going off the paint job alone to me is not a good one, because Link showed up with completely painted army. Andrew showed up with a completely painted army. And both of them had never played. I mean, Andrew kind of did some learning games with his younger kids, but Link never played a game before. Link just saw models, liked models, has painted, I think, D&D before, so he painted his stuff and was like, teach me to play. And so I came into this with the mentality of like, I have never seen you before. I didn't know where he was from. I didn't know anything, so I was like trying to gauge out, hey, how often you play? What kind of experience you got? When'd you start playing? And like, he was like, oh yeah, I started like into the summer last year. And like the questions or the answers that I were kind of getting led me to think like, oh, maybe he plays with family, maybe, because we have another group of kids that'll come in and play Legion off in a corner by themselves, as like a friend group, but I've never like looked at them and been like, I know which one you are. So I thought he was a part of that group. And so I wasn't really sure how familiar he was with the rules, because he was like, I'm okay. I think I get most of it. And I was like, sweet, okay. How yeah, I was like trying to gauge his experience level, just so that I didn't have one of those, hey, you're brand new, you just got all your toys painted and you want to come put them on the table, moment, and then I crush you, and even though it's the bye and you still officially get the win, that's a shitty feeling. So I was just like, all right, we're gonna play this out, and I was playing my list, the list that lives in the bag. Therefore, it's the only list I've played for about a year and a half now, really. It's Jin, Ahsoka, a veteran, a Mark II, Rebel Trooper with a shotgun, fully loaded Pathfinders, and a Land Speeder with Shriv. And the whole idea behind this list is I will make an island with both Pathfinders and Jin, and then wherever that island is outside the deployment zone, Ahsoka's racing there in the Land Speeder, and then the core troopers will go hold or tap VAPs or whatever objective they need to deal with. That's really all their job is in the list. The whole list revolves around getting that island and defending and doing the best they can. So I start like telling him like, hey, this is infiltrate, this is what happens. And he's like, yeah, oh, okay, yeah, Pathfinders, I've never even seen them, kind of stuff. And like, yeah, they're bad, whatever, I fucking love them. So like I start putting them out there, and I'm thinking, well, I know he's playing Anakin, I know he's playing a pretty hefty GAR list in terms of activations. He's got 10. So I was like, maybe we don't launch the cruise missile of Ahsoka, into his face as quick as possible. Maybe we just let her, get a turn or two in the speeder before, we unleash her into Anakin. Let him do some things. Except, I was slowly picking up, things that he was doing that even some of our experienced players don't do. That I was like, ah, oh, you've been playing a lot more than I expected you to be playing. Kind of like it started to dawn on me really quick, and I was like, oh no, because of my assumption, I have sent Ahsoka off after something she should not have been chasing, purely because I thought this kid was not, you know, real familiar with the game system, because I thought he was completely new and, didn't play often enough when I was gauging questions with him. No, I got completely smashed. I even hurried up the rounds so that I could let him table me in the end there. I was like, hey, if we hurry up, we can get the turn 6, and you can like wipe the board with me. And he was down with that. Jin at least put in some work, because normally that's supposed to be Ahsoka and Jin fighting together. But it was just Jin by herself as Ahsoka went off chasing a bark for fun. And she killed Anakin. He was very shocked that she can deal out some damage and be really annoying with her command cards. So
the one where you get the free activations and she gets charged for a turn.
Yeah, the one pip, he was like, wait, so that's super standby? And I was like, yeah, it's super standby. And he was like, okay. And then like I shot at Anakin first with it on the turn that I played it, and he was like, all right. And I was like, yeah, now she gets a dodge. And he's like, okay. I think I played Anakin's flaw card. And then Anakin like is running over to Jin, and then Jin's like, nah, you're gonna deal with this Tonfa, and then she just starts smacking him with 4 black dice and suppressive surge crit, and he's just like, the hell is happening right now? Like, I could see it in his face. He's like, that's not a Jedi. I'm like, I know. And she should, like, realistically, I also know she should not be living as long as she was living. He was getting, like, just very, like, average, maybe just below average lightsaber rolls against her. But she also just had dodges, and he was just really, like, I can't get wounds into Jin. Like, the only wounds he got into Jin was when she shot at him, and he spent the dodge to, like, auto wound her on Jim So. And I was like, yeah, I'm just taking this as a personal win because Jin, bitch slapped Anakin pretty hard. Ahsoka never even got to swing at him. Because as I said, I made a stupid assumption and paid dearly for it. And then we were talking afterwards. I was like, how often do you play? And he's like, oh, usually minimum once a week. And I was like, of course. Because I know there's a store in the area he's from that hosts regular events. So, and I'm pretty sure there's a good, like, I think that's where Izzy plays. And I think a couple other, like, competitive community members plays. And I was like,
yeah, there's a fella from out there that I can't remember his name. He plays CIS. He came out for a few of our events. Like, he'd take the ferry down and
Ethan?
then... Yes? Yeah. Ethan,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a while since we've seen him.
Yeah, well, I do remember talking to him, and he was like, college,
Yeah,
school
and
life, not gonna see me for a while.
it's a fucking trek. Like I
Yeah,
get it.
that's some commitment.
If it's
Yeah.
not a World's End fight, I'm not traveling from that far, maybe catching the ferry or driving around the Sound. Like I totally get it. Especially
Especially
if
after
you're
an entire day of playing and you got to take the long way around to get home.
yeah, I mean I did that at
Oof.
Mox when we were holding some of the tournaments in their Seattle location. And I was just like, oh, this leads to like almost a 20-hour day.
Yeah.
I'm
That's
good.
that's obscene.
I was like,
Yeah.
I know I'm not that kind of gaming person, and that's totally fine. I will leave that slot for other people who are more committed. But
Yeah.
yeah,
I like
so
games. I don't like games that much though.
I do. Just
I guess I say that in that like it's easy enough. Like I don't have to I don't have to try that hard to get a game.
true.
So yeah.
We're very blessed.
Yeah, no, it's I mean, objectively I could play in my hometown where I live because despite working in Bremerton, I don't work or live in Bremerton. There's a store 10 minutes from my house. They have very limited space, but they do have space.
True. Yep. So I got mollywopped pretty hard. We were playing uh, hostile environment. I want to say battle. Yeah, battle lines, hostile environment, and intercept the transmission. And I put up a good fight on the two objectives. Uh, just Ahsoka going off after the bark. Like with the intent of not diving his line, not to be like too mean and cut stuff up, was real bad. So, but that's okay because Kyle turned around and avenged me, so I felt better about it.
Yeah. Uh, that was the kid's only loss too.
Well, yeah, when you get the buy, and then
Yeah. Yeah.
he's not a bad player, like 100%
No,
not.
he tabled Stewart.
Well, I mean, he tabled me too, so
Yeah.
yep.
Yeah, I think he
Uh,
took second place too. So good for him.
yeah, he did. And then I'll just cover my other game real quick because I played the third one against Scott, one of our resident CIS players. I'm trying to remember. Cad Bane, Kalani, two Magna Guards, and just a crap ton of B1s. My strategy was we're playing key positions, long march, clear conditions. So my strategy was since the way he declared the terrain for the objective, I was able to like just set up a small little area, and I had zero fear of the B1s. Just the Magnas and CAD. And he learned real quick that Pathfinders are no joke when you are closing in the distance, because turns out when they have aims and they're shooting into units that are crossing kind of an open battlefield area that are trying to get into melee with them and you're at range 3 or less, their dice pool is considerable, especially with Pow and Biston. So I was duking wounds in there, and Jen once again was just blenderizing people with droids in this case with her Tonfa, and he was just getting real frustrated because the Pathfinders weren't dying. They were doing some significant damage, and Jin was just being really annoying. And Ahsoka hadn't even shown up yet. And the Magnas were like already down to two models, at least one wound on one of them in both squads. And he was like, that was not how I expected that to go. And I was like, to be honest, me neither. I was like, I totally figured Jin would be the lone one standing against like two Magna Guards, not this not this weird thing where the Pathfinder squad. I was like, yeah, Pal was the only one alive in one of them. Uh, he was like the lone standing guy, but the Magnas just couldn't kill him. Like he was just standing there going wah over and over and over again. Every time they would like throw their fists or electro staffs at him. Because I infiltrated just past my key position near my board edge and deployment, just past the center objective, and I was like, I'm gonna hold this island because it's heavy cover, and Pathfinders love heavy cover, and he decided to stack up like a marching droid army, no cover from where I was like gunning, and I was like, sweet, we're doing this because I know you're just gonna try and run into me, and it was not close until CAD popped. So obviously,
that was pretty late too, right?
it was real late, and obviously he put the bomb token next to my objective, CAD next to the center, and the blank one next to his. But he seemed to think I was going to walk around the corner and trip CAD. But he also said he was really here to, like, it was the first time he'd ever done the disclose? I'm forgetting what the key word is, where you play the card early in deployment, and then you do what the card says. So, like, he'd never played that before, so he was just wanting a little bit of practice. So, like, he just put it in a place where I was like, dude, I know what that is. Like, I knew where he put everything. So, when I went to deployment, I intentionally walked a veteran into it to trigger the bomb. And then I just never went to the Bane token. So, it wasn't until, like, turn 4 that he opted to pop it. But he wasn't doing much because Jen was wrapped up, kind of beaten on stuff. Ahsoka was at that point in the B1 swarm spinning around. And then we could have finished out, but I had looked over and realized all the other actual games had finished. And I was like, hey, you're going to win on VPs. Do you just want to call it here? Because I was never going to take the center. If I couldn't kill Bane, there was no way for the veteran, the Mark II, Jin, and Ahsoka to get there before the end of 6. Because, like, when we decided to call it, we were on 5. Both my heroes were still alive, and I just had the 2 core options. And he was just, like, struggling with the dice that he's throwing on the B1s to really do anything about it. But I didn't have the dice mathematically, even if I roll all hits and he blanks out, to even wipe his stuff off the points. So, in the end, CAD didn't really play a factor other than, like, I know I can't walk up there and tap or like walk onto the terrain because CAD's gonna pop and just murder whatever unit's there. So I tried to kill everything around CAD, but I just 8 activation list that I'm playing. Oh, and I forgot the part that pissed me off the most and like ruined my mood for a hot second. In the very first turn.
Oh yeah, you blocked it out.
Yeah, I did.
Blocked out that trauma.
Biston gets a beautiful, like, 6 crits, 2 hits, on his dice roll after aim modification into a Magna. And I'm like, I don't even care if I kill more than one model. all I want is one wound so I can apply an ion token and trap this squad out in the open for the rest of the veterans, the Mark II, the shotgun, and the land speeder to shoot. Because we were close enough at the end of deployment that he could just double move, charge, and start swinging. I was like, I know the first one's going to make it. I'm aligned so that the second one, if it only gets one action, there's no way for it to make it. And if I like fall back and keep shooting, there's no way it's ever going to get to Biston. No surges. I think he had one dodge, so he got rid of one. So, or no, it was 9 because he rolled 8.
It was 8. I remember it was 8. Yeah.
He rolled 8 blocks because he dodged one of the hits, and he rolled 8 blocks on non-surging red defense dice, and I was just like, I just wanted one. I wasn't even
Which
being...
is a 50% chance. It's a coin toss.
Yeah, I was like, I just wanted
three
one.
Shields.
I just wanted one. I didn't want to be greedy. I just wanted one. I just needed one. And he looked at me and was like, that's just the way the dice did go.
Yeah. Which is, every time someone rolls ridiculous, they're like, well, that's just what happened. Yeah, because it worked out for you.
Yep. So I had to keep fighting to recover from that. But unfortunately, because I wasn't able to put the ion token, that meant I couldn't do my fallback shoot trickery and then have Ahsoka dive in. But I did manage to trap his Magnas pretty good by moving Jin and moving Ahsoka on the turn that he went to play the Super Tac 2 pip that gives him disengage. I was like, fun fact, disengage only works if you're engaged with one unit. So both his Magnas were already engaged on the Biston squad. So I was like, Ahsoka's gonna go here, Jin's gonna go here, and you're not leaving. I'm not trapped in here with you, buddy. You're trapped in here with me. And he's like, yeah, they're going to die. And I was like, they're definitely going to die. But I'm going to pay for it. I'm definitely going to pay for it. It was a lot of fun. What about your game?
Yeah, which, it's funny you bring up, and you're like, well, I misjudged the actual skill level of this person. I maybe shouldn't have been pulling punches. They were definitely worthy of the best I could bring kind of thing. I was playing Link, who plays a fair amount. He plays infinitely more than I do. He is still relatively new. He's mentioned and pointed out that he doesn't necessarily take the best lists. He just takes the things he thinks is fun, which is fair. Also, like you mentioned, you only have ever had one person go, I think I'll go eat. I even mentioned to him, or said to him, I'm like, dude, if you want, you can just go sit at the bar and drink for 2.5 hours. It's no skin off my back.
Yeah.
Let's do it. So I took the list that is also just living in my bag, because this is the one I want to play. I don't know if it's this year. That's how it ended up working out last year, where I played only one list. But 3 Wookiees, 4 Rebels with shotguns, Han and Chewie. He was taking Han, IG, 2 land speeders, dudes, and ATRTs. We were playing hostage on major offensive and supply drop, which is a whole lot of stuff that I've never. I'm always just like, I cancel, take the easy thing. It's just the buy, right?
Right.
And I was like, no, for whatever reason, I got a wild hair at my butt, and I'm like, no, we're gonna do the thing, and I'm gonna force myself to figure this shit out. And of course, first turn, I get bullied by a land speeder with the double activation unstable astromech, and lose 2 Wookiees, or it might have been only 1 Wookiee. No, it was 2 Wookiees out of a squad, and I was like, yeah, goddamn, every fucking time, one of them gets just beat the shit in that first round of shooting. Uh, but he took half wounds from the unstable astromech. I got some good shots in with the shotguns, which I think I was sleeping on for a ridiculously long time because holy crap, they're good.
They're just
Uh,
so cheap too, which is like
right. Because even if the impact doesn't matter, which I'm sure you can make an argument for objectively in a meta environment, it probably does, since like dark troopers are a thing and armor is so prevalent to a degree it seems. But anyway, uh, just the fact that you're giving rebels throwing 2 red dice, it just is so good. And it's not that hard to get range too. Like that was one of the reasons that I never took it. It was like I'd rather sit at range, just throw my giant handful of dice with my Z6. I was like, or I can take more shit and hug all the cover, abuse dodge tokens the way rebels are supposed to abuse dodge tokens, do the thing. And we were going along and playing, and it was quickly becoming apparent that I was going to table him because Han is stupid good. Nearly annihilated him and Chewie nearly annihilated IG-88 in a single round of shooting between the two of them. But yeah, there's a lot of tabling going around. I had so much fun though that I'm kind of thinking about asking somebody to cover my shift for April and just going, is it okay if I sign up so I can play? I don't think I'll win anything, but or if nothing else, I'll just be there to play 3 games.
If you keep playing the game or the list that you're playing, like I love your list, and I think you just need the experience with it to like really be disgusting, because the time that I like just pulled it out by like the skin of my teeth, those Wookiees are brutal. Han was brutal. Chewie was brutal, and I was just like,
he didn't do a ton, as much as he could though. I think in our game, just because I was more like, hey, he's 9 extra wounds for Han. No, not this time. He was definitely like making a point to hug cover, do teamwork with Han, put his bowcaster to use, because it's basically a super shotgun, right? Like it's the rebel shotgun, but Pierce, range 3, and then Chewie's got surge to crit, and he was sniping ATRTs, picking off squads of dudes by himself, and yeah. I also made a point not to do the thing I did last time when I played you, and just like throw a bunch of dudes off in the corner and just leave them hanging. Like the only thing I did is I think there's probably maybe like a 12-inch area wide that my army was almost entirely in, except for I had one squad kind of off further in heavy cover to the side, just because he did deploy an ATRT and a land speeder over there. So I was like, all right, I want some impact over there just to threaten him. Just to kind of like cover that flank, but they are within a double move of being in and amongst the rest of my army.
Yep.
But I mean, he was kind of not bitching, but like gamers do, just having a good time. He's like, oh, they're tabling me. And I was like, I offered. You could have just gone and drank. And I was like, and you did half the damage to yourself. You made it that much easier for me to kill the land speeders.
That is true. That's how I lost my land speeder in the first game. He correctly pointed out that I had damaged myself to the point where I needed a roll to see if I got the second action. I was like, oh yeah, I totally forgot about that. So we rolled the dice, didn't get the second action, and I was like, screw it, we're blowing the droid. So we blew the unstable astromech, got off a really decent attack, and then it was already on 1 wound, but I rolled 3 anyways, and I was just like, yep, going out in a ball of flame. That is definitely how this is going to go, kind of thing. And I love it every time that happens. I think I've done it like 3 times now.
Yeah, it was. I mean, we did do a misplay because I didn't realize. I guess Link didn't either. That the land speeder does not provide cover. But I mean, I think that was maybe 4 shots. And mind you, by the time we finished, I had Han, Chewie, two Rebel squads were pretty much fully healthy, and I had like 2 Wookiees left. Like, it wasn't like I walked away with no hurt. Like, it was definitely, he got his licks in, he did the damage, he put up a good fight. But I'd like to think I would have pulled out the win even if I had played that interaction correctly, because it was to my advantage.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. Yeah.
But now we know if it's a repulsor, no, doesn't block line of sight, it doesn't do anything.
Yeah, and I had forgotten that, because I thought they standardized it, but I think they just standardized legs and treads, vice. Originally being like, oh, this one grants light cover, this one grants heavy cover, this one grants. I thought when they consolidated all of those down to one, they also added repulsors, but I guess they still just kicked them off to the side to be like, no, none for you. But
no
makes sense. Not gonna stress about it.
Man, I do really like that list though, not just because it tabled someone, but anytime I've played a miniatures game like Legion, with a lot of dudes, army on army game, as opposed to like Team Yankee, which obviously is more like a combined arms kind of thing. If I can play an army where I can get stuck in and get in melee and beat people up, like it's generally been that, even if I didn't start there, that's the one that I end up enjoying the most. So like the most fun I had playing Warhammer 40k years ago was playing the dudes that were all about beating people up in combat. So
fair.
But yeah, that was a good time.
Well, I'm pretty sure that's all of our Worlds qualifying that we've done in the past 2 weeks. Are there any future competitive markets you're looking forward to, other than the standard ones we keep saying we're going to get around to?
Yes, there is this time. So in a similar-ish vein, or not exactly the same, but like same idea, same vibe. For Legion's Blue Ribbon League, giving people an incentive to play differently and kind of think outside the box of how you would normally play. Adam is the other person I work with. We talk about him all the time, and Marvel Crisis Protocol is his game, right? Like, by far, he owns everything for it, and if we got him on here to talk about best game ever, he would make the most impassioned speech for it being the best, most well-written, best quality models, yada yada. Any way you want to talk about it being good, it's his favorite. And he wants to do a kind of club-style league event where, in that game, as opposed to like in Legion where you just make an 800-point list, you pick 10 characters, 10 tactics cards. That is like the roster you would bring to a tournament environment, say, or just even in casual play. You're like, oh, I'm gonna get a couple games in a night. Here's what I'm bringing. You each go through the mission selection process, which gives each person a say in it, kind of like you do in Legion, and then you get a point value out of it, and then out of those 10 characters, you pick 17 points of models for your game. For the league, what we're going to do is everybody's going to basically, if it's still a little bit in the works, but this was the general idea. You're going to like register your 20-man roster that you want to have available to you. Whether or not tactics cards will go higher, I'm not sure. And those characters, if they die in game, they are not going to comic book die. They're going to really die. So if I play X-Men and I take Professor X, who just came out, and he dies in game 1, I do not have access to Professor X for the rest of the league. So, maybe forcing people to like not make really dumb decisions, make those really high kind of risk plays. Be like, whoa, do I want to do this? There's got league points on the line. I want to make sure I keep my guys. Maybe I need to play more conservatively, kind of thing. But just his idea of your 20-man roster, and if they die for real, was a really cool idea that really made me want to do it. And plus, having a 20-man roster, I could potentially take all of the good and anti-hero good guy X-Men and have that be my roster. So I could take Weapon X, X Force, and all the X-Men, and I'm pretty sure I could get close to 20 characters. I might have to finagle in some other that are maybe not in strictly affiliation or in faction, if you like, but at least make sense in universe, because that is by far what's important to me when I play games, is that things are like, there's some thematic reason for why I built the list or did the thing.
Yeah.
I didn't just do it because it was the best thing to do. So,
which,
not sure when that's going to start, but that is right now my current motivation to get everything painted, since, like I said, everything that just came out is basically all X-Men stuff, so.
Fair. Yeah, no, I get it, because I also do just all theme things. Maybe not necessarily what units, but at least with my paint and style, I try and follow stuff like that.
I mean, if they ever did, like, because with the first Jedi game with Cal Kestis or whatever, you know, he went to Kashyyyk and there was the Saw Gerrera and the Partisans and the Wookiee Freedom Fighters and all that jazz. I was like,
Yeah.
that
Fallen Order.
that'd be a pretty cool list to play. So, and I'm fairly certain that that happened in Legends. I don't remember. It's been a long time since I've read all those. But I'm pretty sure Han and Chewie went back. Freed all the Wookiees, so.
Yes.
But yeah, that's yeah. Other than that, and then of course Gamma Wolves as usual.
Yeah.
Because I like me some giant robots.
I'd love me some giant robots. And like I said, I just need to. I need that week where I have nothing, no responsibilities, no job for just a week. I can finish the like 8 prints of it that I need to finish.
Oh, it's gonna be 8 individual prints to get the whole thing done.
Yeah, because I did like the bits and bobs for him, like the gun, the cage, the fan, stuff like that, in a separate color. But and usually those are the ones that always go historically well for me, because they're small, less of a chance to fuck up on a printer. But every time I try and print anything of size, something always happens. Like if you look at my blue dragon that I have for my D&D session, it's noticeable. Like the paint and everything hides it pretty decently, but you can still see where the shift occurred on the wings. Like in the wings, 2 wings, each one a separate full piece, probably a 6-inch by 4-inch area about, and you can very clearly see a shift line. And since I'm printing this off for someone else, it's not me, when you get curling on the edges, because the base slips and flares for some reason, even though you've replaced the FEP like twice now, and you've gone over the glass on the printer itself to make sure there's nothing there, you just like throw your hands up and want to go full Kyle on a wall nearby kind of shit. So it's okay. I expect April to be when we're above 50 and I can stop having this fucking problem.
It's gonna be nice at the end of the week, actually, or at least where I live. I don't know. I mean, it's not that far from Bremerton, but this weekend's supposed to be over 60.
Yeah, but is it gonna stay that way for like 3 days?
Probably not.
Yeah, no. No. So hopefully in April we'll be good.
All right. You got anything else?
No, I think it's a good place to wrap up. Decent length of a podcast there.
Solid.
Sweet. Well, I am Phi, the problem.
And I'm Aaron. Certainly, I'm not the solution, but I'm here.
and we're just here to tell you we're proud of you and we love your models and go and game.
Yeah, and they don't have to be painted. They can be gray. It's okay.
They can be gray. It's okay.
Look, yeah. Coming to a merch store near you. Our first piece of merch.
Bullshit. I ain't doing fucking fuck all. I'm not. Nope. We're out.
That's